My name is Omaid Sharifi. I was born, raised, educated in Kabul, Afghanistan. And that is a huge, huge part of my life, my identity, and the love I have for that land, for those mountains. I have been a recent, you could call refugee, forced exile, living outside of Afghanistan now, which is painful, but at the same time, it's also a reality of my story. I co-founded ArtLords back in 2014, and then it has been 12, 13 years now. It has taken me to start a very small community-based art organization in a very difficult, hostile environment in Afghanistan, and take it to a global stage, which now ArtLords as a Artivism for Social Change organization does projects in 20 countries, impacted many lives, introduced some flagship programming that reintroduced artivism, art for social change, body mapping, art therapy. So it has really been instrumental in reintroducing art as something very crucial, as a heartbeat of change and movements and projects in the world.
Yeah,
And of
I
course,
know.
I'm a proud Asia Society fellow as well.
Oh, no, proud to count you among our Asia 21 alumni. Uh, the year 2011 was your onboarding year. What were you, can you tell us, like, what were you doing at that time? What was occupying your attention at that point in your life?
It's an interesting time for me that period because I was part of a very small team working and a small team I mean 5 people probably at that time of helping a commission called Transition Coordination Commission, which was tasked by the president of Afghanistan at that time to start the transitioning of the NATO forces in Afghanistan and give that responsibility and ownership to the Afghan forces, to the Afghan government. So that commission was set up in coordination with NATO countries, Americans, the Afghan government, and we were planning for that withdrawal that the President Obama had announced in 2014.
Mm.
So that is the time of my life which I was waking up every 7 a.m. in the office and then working 12 hours a day, traveling all provinces of Afghanistan and helping in a time which was also concerning because we knew not a lot of Afghan troops are really, but at the same time, we wanted to take responsibility as well. So that is the time of my life where I got the opportunity to join Asia Society.
Right. So was it President Ghani then at the time, at the helm? President Ghani,
Yes, so
right?
I was helping President Ghani at that
President
time.
Ghani, yeah. Okay, just trying to remember, because we've worked so closely, and I still remember you guys going to all the donor meeting and Afghanistan meetings, and as Asia 20, Afghanistan 21, presenting all those position papers, right, in Chicago, in Bonn, and in Kabul. I think
Yes.
there was one in Tokyo also. So now you're helping me jog my own memory also. uh, but it's looking back, Omejan, is there a particular moment from that inaugural summit or meeting in Afghanistan that still resonates with you today? Because I know a lot of them are still very connected with you. I mean, now that you are in DC, Virginia area, was there anything that sort of like stood out from that inaugural meeting?
I think I knew some of the inaugural group of that cohort. I knew some of them. I knew of some of the people
Yeah.
because they were very prominent leaders. Like you mentioned, our ambassador Wahid Waisi, Mr. Nadir Yama, Asad Zami. These guys were prominent leaders in the community at that time.
Yeah.
So I knew of them and I knew some of them. And I got to know some new faces and new friends, like Lutfullah Najafizada,
Yeah.
which became the head of the Toulon News, Zakia, Suleiman, all of these incredible people, Sanjeev.
Mm.
Those I can very happily say that many of those people in the first cohort, including Ambassador YC, Nader
Mm.
Yama, Assad, Lutfullah, they're my closest friends now. And I think that friendship began 15 years ago in that Safi Landmark Hotel where Jimmy Metzel was there, Martin Tan was
Right.
there,
Yeah.
you were like the whole Asia Society family. And it really gave us that feeling of family. This is where it starts. So I think what the greatest takeaway, maybe I did not know it at that time, but now I look back 15 years, my closest friends are from that same conference room that we met for Asia Society.
Right, right. No, that's great. Yeah, it's great to see that bond, that enduring bond, right? In here, especially when 20 August 2021, when Kabul fell, and we were all activating towards how to get a lot of our Afghan brothers and sisters out of the country. So it's all because of that connections that we that convening and the connections that happened. Um, just about the organization that you co-founded, ArtLords, in 2014. Maybe if you could, I know you guys did what, over 2,000 murals in Kabul, right, around that time. But maybe you could share, like, what sparked the idea and why did you choose the name ArtLords? Uh,
Um, I, I think Artlo's journey is somehow, it also started with the journey, with my journey in the Asia Society. It also came out of a place of, both frustration, anger, and also being hopeful and trying to find indigenous solutions for our own problems. I think that really sparked that notion, that electricity that brought art lords. And at that time, there was a lot of news and coverage about Afghanistan, and most of these news coverage was not positive,
mm,
and it did not tell the whole story of what Afghanistan is, who Afghans are, what Afghanistan stands for. There was a lot of news about the drug lords, the corrupt lords, the warlords, and all the negative lords.
all right.
We decided to present the whole story, maybe the other side of the story, the true story about Afghanistan as well, which was the positive lords, the constructive lords, the people who are waking up every single morning with the hope that they can contribute back to their country, give back, try to find solutions for their country. So I think art lords came from that space.
Mm,
Um, and we tried to portray that picture through public murals,
yeah.
art exhibitions, street theater, music, which is an inherent part of Afghan identity, Afghanistan's history for many, many, many centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, in started in Kabul with a few murals, went to 24 provinces of Afghanistan, over 2,200 murals. It did not stop only in Afghanistan and its borders. It went to border areas of Pakistan and Afghanistan. It went to India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh at that time, in that South Asia region. It really is spread because, it was like that positive uh, empathy, kindness movement of art and social transformation that was slowly growing inside Afghanistan and then out of its borders.
Right. And I remember, Obaidjan, all those conversations late night we'd have about how this young, I mean, Afghanistan is a very young demography, and how you guys wanted to stay within the country and make that change, right? And that was, and I'm sure you would have been in Afghanistan had it not been for August 2021 and whatever happened thereafter. So it's a nice segue. So looking back, like, how has ArtLord's approach to activism evolved, especially following the events of 2021, and how has its work expanded on a global scale? You did talk about a little bit, but maybe you want to expand a little more, because there's a team in Pakistan, in Canada, right? I mean, you have presence. So how has it evolved? I mean, how have you evolved into doing a more global at a global scale?
Sure. I think you rightly put it, Sanjeev John, because uh, staying in Afghanistan, when I started introducing myself, I said born, raised, educated, and lived in Afghanistan. And that was a conscious decision.
Right.
It was not easy, but I liked that life. It was my own country, my homeland, where I belonged to, where I felt the ownership, and where I made a meaningful contribution. I felt I'm making a contribution to the society. I could have lived anywhere I was traveling to many, many countries in the world, from the US to Europe to North America, everywhere. And I could have had the opportunity to live. But we would always come back to Afghanistan. It was not just my story, but the story of many of our friends, especially the cohort from the Asia Society. We would be going outside, working, and then coming back to Afghanistan because our work made sense. It made an impact, and we knew it's important. So, but then unfortunately, 2021, August 15, the Americans leave, and then the Taliban takes over. And exact on that day, I'm sure you know, and we spoke a lot, and you guys were instrumental in helping many of our Afghan fellows, from fundraising to having that solidarity, that empathy to listen. And I'm sure you spent countless nights without sleep to answer to our phone calls. So that was the day I was actually painting a mural, Sanjeev, in Kabul,
In
August
Kabul.
in 2021. I was in the middle of the road with my team
Yeah.
painting a mural about empathy, kindness, and peace when the Taliban came in. And then that's a lot of news around it. There's a lot of issues. Took me a week to get out of Kabul.
Mm.
And again, with the help of so many people, including our family members from Asia Society, from other friends in the world who really showed a lot of chivalry, a lot of kindness to support us. And then once I got out, the most important aspect of work for me was that what we had created in Afghanistan, I did not want that to die with us getting out.
Mm.
And it didn't. Taliban tried to erase us, but we expanded. We immediately, 2 weeks after they were in power, they removed all the murals. This also tells you the power of those murals, you know.
Yeah.
They just wanted to drag back Afghanistan by showing and removing these symbols of resistance, resilience, art and culture and progress and all of that. Removed all those murals, closed down my office, but we continued the work. We continued the work inside Afghanistan. We opened an office in Islamabad, Pakistan, in Istanbul, Turkey, in Toronto, Canada, and in Virginia in the US. Work not only focused on Afghanistan, female artists, art and culture, women's rights, but it expanded to artivism, artists at risk, from Kenya to Tunisia to Nepal to Sri Lanka to Uzbekistan to Tunisia. These are the places that ArtLords goes right now, works with artists, activists, journalists, human rights defenders, and brings all those tools, techniques, lived experiences to really build the resilience of these civil society organizations, to prepare and equip all these artists, activists to be ready to stand up against oppression, to stand up for dignity, human rights, and all of those things. So I think ArtLords it makes me happy. It brings me joy to see that from a street of Kabul, a blast wall, it just bloomed into a global organization today.
All right. That was going to be my question, but I think you answered that. It is basically about, I remember when you started, it was ICU campaign against anti-corruption, right? And those are issues, many of those issues you work on extend beyond Afghanistan's border, right? And it does resonate across Asia Pacific. And I guess you answered that. I was going to ask you, how does your current work contribute to addressing these shared challenges? But you sort of answered that because you've expanded it and you are trying to grow, help the artists grow that resilience and to stand up against injustices and all that. So I guess I'm not going to ask you that question over, Jan, but you did touch on the connections, the friendships that you have fostered through Asia 21. Uh, how do you think the connections built through Asia 21 still matter? Not only for you personally, but for the whole region as a whole. The connections that forged through Asia 21.
Look, Sanjeev John, there's two aspects to this. When I look at myself 15 years ago,
Mhm.
I was a young, naive, 25 years old person from Afghanistan with very, very little experience, but with the ambition, with the desire, with the excitement to be part of something bigger. And I think Asia Society, the fellowship, welcomed me with open arms. And I remember at that time, like a 25-year-old kid from Kabul, being among fellows who had already won an Oscar. I think Sharmeen was in the cohort I met in Bangladesh. She
Yeah.
had already won an Oscar. We had so many business people. We had so many established leaders in the community. So for me, now that I look at it,
Yeah.
uh, with not a lot of judgment and lenses, they really welcomed me. And that is the beginning of those bonds and relationships. When you're a naive young kid and you're coming to a place like that and they welcome you, they listen to you, they share kindly with you, I think that has been an extraordinary part of this journey. And those friendship and bonds still remain. I even today when I met some of our friends way back in Bangladesh, and now when I see them in Texas or when I do something, and the first messages are from that cohort, that
Yeah.
community that
Yeah.
sends me, okay, you know what? We are with you, we stand up with you, we support you, we amplify you. And I think it has been vice versa as well with our fellows from India, from Pakistan, from Asia Pacific, in Australia, whenever we felt that there is an opportunity to amplify the work of each other, to connect, to support. And of course, the issue of falling Afghanistan to the
Yeah.
Taliban is the greatest example of everybody coming together to do this.
Mm.
So I think it has solidified our bond, our relationship moving forward.
That's great. Yes. Um, so now looking ahead, what role would you like to see Asia 21 play in shaping leadership across the region? And how can Asia society support your active engagement in this journey? And we know this is a 20-year journey for us. Asia 21 is one of the longest running programs at Asia Society. And, we are meeting in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam this October. Hopefully, we'll get to see you. I know you have some plans, travel plans, but what can we do more? How can we help? How is Asia 21 play more role in shaping leadership across the region? Asia Society, help from Asia Society.
I think our annual retreats coming together has been an incredible place of inspiration and energy and learning for a lot of us who is coming back to these
Mm.
forums. I think I've been to a couple of them. I'd love to see more. I would love to come more. But I think that this being a milestone year for us, and I hope a lot of us make it to and a very important city as well,
Yeah.
celebrating this. Um, I think the resources that Asia Society has, we have spoken about this in the past as well. I think extending that to the cohort of fellows, which you have always kindly done, be it from the museum, from the conference centers, from inviting as speakers, all of this, it is something that works for all of us. It's something that what we're looking into and what we need at this time. So I think if we can continue sustaining this, that this opportunity extends to all of us equally from all parts of the Asia Pacific. I think that will make a difference. It has made a difference. For example, we have been speaking in events at the Asia Society. We have been part of events and convenings, which is important. And I'm always biased towards art and culture, and I know Asia Society
Yeah.
has a soft spot for art and culture.
Yeah.
Having art and culture as a crucial part of
Yeah.
your meaningful convenings will make a huge difference. And I would love to see more uh, art in the convenings, be it live participatory murals, or therapy sessions, poetry, music, anything that brings
Mm.
a bit of art and culture in those convenings will be really welcomed.
And Omajan, inshallah, one day we'll be back in Kabul, have a bigger, Asia, Afghan 21 meeting, inshallah. Finally, complete this sentence. This is sort of like our tagline. It's because of Asia 21, I, you complete, however long, however short, however long you're going to complete. Because of Asia 21, I,
Because of Asia 21, I have some of the most amazing people who are my closest friends for the last 15 years. And I love them, respect them, and I admire them. And it gave me an opportunity to learn and relearn from each other in this journey.